Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this webinar, which is Expectations for 2022 by HSMAI India. I am Sonia, and I am spearheading HSMAI's initiatives in India. Today, we're going to be focusing on leveraging digital for sales, revenue, and marketing. And in respect of everyone's time, I am going to dive straight into the agenda. Give me a minute. Right. So we are not confined just to the revenue team. We're going to be talking about how digital is influencing distribution, sales, as well as marketing. And then if time permits, then we will talk a little bit more on the ancillary revenues, and of course, there is time for Q&A with the panelists. So let me introduce you to our speakers as well. Sachin Koshe is the Business Development Manager for the Indian Subcontinent from OTA Insight. He comes with a good 15 years of experience in travel. Brij Bhushan needs no introduction with over 20 years of experience across the disciplines of business as well as planning functions. He is currently Vice President Revenue and Distribution for the Indian Hotels Company Limited. Then we have Seema Roy, who is the Area Managing Director for South Asia, Middle East, and Africa for Preferred Hotels. She has a varied experience across varied hotel brands and will be talking to us about the sales aspect of digital. Amy Clarke comes with a solid background in marketing functions. She is currently spearheading marketing for EMEA region for Wyndham Hotels and Resorts. So welcome to the speakers. I am also putting here a link in case anybody would like to see the recording later. Please, it's the same link that you used to register. A little bit about HSMAI and what we do before we kickstart the webinar. So the Hospitality Sales Marketing Association is a 95-year organization, 95 years old. We have about 7,000 plus members across 40 countries. And it's a non-profit organization. It's more like a professional community. We focus on improving the knowledge and skills of people working in or managing the commercial disciplines in hotels and resorts. Our focus remains on sales, marketing, and the revenue streams. We cover all levels from entry to the expertise. I would also like to highlight about our signature event, which is the Revenue Optimization Conference, or ROC as it is called. It is slated for 9th and 10th of June in Singapore, Marina Bay Sands. And post-COVID, this would be the first face-to-face interaction. So we're excited about it. And if you haven't registered for it yet, please do so. It will be a 2-day conference with the second day actually focusing on educational sessions and private roundtables for the senior leaders. Our events are held across 8 markets. HSMAI Asia Pacific are, the new chapters of India and Maldives. This is in addition to what was there before in Singapore, Greater China, Thailand, Australia and the Pacific, Indonesia, and Japan. HSMAI is very well known for the global certification programs, and we are actually the founders of CRME for revenue management and CHDM for digital marketing. And these certifications I would urge people to look actually establish you as an expert in your domain and in your stream. In 2017, we launched the HSMAI Academy to address the gaps in learning, which was available for hotel staff working in or wanting to work in the fields of digital marketing, revenue management, and sales. The first program that we built and established with the help of senior hoteliers was the CRME. And This is 100% online course with 10 courses, which give you the certification. Definitely meant for people who have less than 3 years of experience in revenue management, or definitely for those who are wanting to switch to revenue management. And similarly, in 2021, we rolled out the digital marketing online program as well. And in this, the learners have a choice of about 18 plus courses, though you need only 10 to be completed for earning your certification. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Please follow us, because a lot of sessions from the conferences and from the academy are posted here. And you will find a lot of value here. Please join the mission. We are here to help people build their careers, grow their careers in the commercial disciplines of sales, marketing, and revenue management. Tools, insights, expertise. Use this platform, to network, to grow. We are there for you. So thank you. Stay connected. This is the link to our social platforms. Contact us on the info ID for any further information. And for any query, please feel free to reach me. My email ID is also given. So thank you. I will now invite Sachin to share with us his thoughts on how up-to-minute forward data can assist the sales, marketing, distribution, and revenue team's holistic strategy. Sachin?
You just haven't got Sachin. He's here, but I just can't get him to share his screen at the moment.
I think I have his presentation. Do you want me to share that?
Hang on, let's just see if we can get. No, why?
If Sachin, if you can speak, I have your presentation. I can share the screen.
He can't. I'm just hoping he can send a chat message so that then I can get his name and I can change him to a host. Sachin, are you there? Sorry, everybody.
Oh, I think Jasmine, he's using Jasmine's ID.
No, Jasmine's using her ID, I think.
No, because he's writing, yes, I'm there.
Ah, is that it?
So you make Jasmine, yeah.
Yeah. Aha, okay. Yeah, I can get him. Right, let's get him in. Her in, I should say. Jasmine.
We solved that mystery.
No wonder I couldn't see him. I kept looking for his name, but couldn't see him. It's really hard with so many people to find someone in the list.
Yeah.
Participants. Maybe you want to ask one of the ladies the questions while I'm trying to get Sachin in.
Jackie, I have a suggestion. I can share Sachin's presentation here and he can speak.
He can't speak until we.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Here we go. I've got Jasmine there.
Yeah.
Jasmine, is that you? Is that you, Sachin, and using Jasmine's name?
It's me. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes. We did it.
We've been playing hide and seek, huh?
You just look like you're Jasmine.
No worries. Finally, I'm able to join in. So hello, everyone. Good morning. I don't know why the camera is not working. I'm just trying to switch it on. I don't know why it's not working. So
I'll just make you a co-host so you can share your slides.
Yeah, sure.
You should be right now.
All right. So just give me a moment. I'll share the screen.
Sure.
Yes. It's working.
Yes.
Finally. Sorry, everybody.
All right, we're really sorry for this technical glitch, something which is beyond the control at this point of time. Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Sachin, and today we have joined over here for an interesting session. And before starting, I need to really thank Sonia and Jackie for inviting me to talk over here, and welcome everyone and the panelists also at the same time. So moving forward, why data is no longer just for the revenue team? Well, it is pretty interesting. A lot have changed since March 2020, and there is still so much of uncertainty after every interval. We have been in and out of lockdowns. The hotel teams have been shrunk and people are wearing multiple hats. Well, traditionally, hotels relied on post data such as historical performance, on the books, OTB, and then compared with the static comp set. There are now more forward-looking data sets that allow revenue and marketing team to get a glimpse into the traveler's behavior early in the customer journey. Now, well, the hotel's commercial team needs to really amalgamate and come together, wherein the marketing, revenue, sales, and distribution team. And given in this normal facility and market data is quite restricted to the RM. And that's where the collaboration is required and technology is required. And that's where the data will really help a lot. Now, what's the new normal? So let's look into the key objectives of the commercial department. We basically are talking about the commercial department and strategies, so let's take one by one and talk about what these commercial departments are focusing on. So predict, price, distribute, and analyze. These are the four main essential pillars, and let's take a closer look and ask ourselves how these pillars have evolved and changed in the last 2 years, and what is important to become successful. So we at OTA Insight work with more than 60,000 hotels globally, and we recently ran a survey and collected the data. We found top 3 concerns with the hotels. The biggest and the largest being the OTA's undercutting, which is like almost 32% of the respondent mentioned, followed by inability to forecast demand in this uncertain time, as I mentioned earlier. And the most important, the critical part is manually pulling the data. The revenue team and the commercial teams are surrounded by the complex of Excel sheets, and it really becomes difficult to drive an actionable insights through these many sheets. These are the main 3 key pain areas for the hotels at this point of time. Now, let's look at the first essential pillar, that's basically predict. So I just want to draw an attention over here. As I mentioned earlier, we are looking into forward-looking data, and historical data is no more of use. It just needs to really pack in the box and set aside at this point of time. To predict the future demand, now we come to know with these flight searches, when are people looking to travel? And this, you actually can see, I've shown you the evolution for last 6 months, where we really had an amazing time in October to November, where we saw a nice uptick in terms of upward trends in searches. And then in the first week of December, probably that started falling due to the increased cases. However, now we see where I've just marked an arrow at the end, which is basically last 2 weeks, we can see the markets are really showing an upward trends in the searches. The majority of the contributors are from the Asia and the European markets. So I think the question goes back to the hotels. Do we know who are the feeder markets and what are the demand holding for us? Now further, if we can look from a predict perspective, how have flights and hotel searches evolved? So what I've done over here is, rather than taking the entire data sets for the whole country, I've just picked up Mumbai as a market and then thought to focus over here. Now, what we see in the first graph is for the flights, and the second graph is for the hotels. In the first graph, what we see is the evolution of the lead time for the flight searches. It has gone through a lot of variation. But if you can focus on the highlighted area, which is at the end of the graph, It says the flight surge between 8 to 28 days and 29 to 90 days are showing positive upside since last 2 weeks for Mumbai. And that's pretty good news for us, because if the searches are happening, which means people are intending to travel for their future dates. And similarly, if you look at the second graph for the Mumbai market, I would say the hotel's lead time evolution is also showing us some upward trends. As COVID-19 behavior or restriction changes, we can see positivity in hotel searches towards an upward trend. And the searches, majority are happening between 0 to 7 days and 8 to 28 days. So the question goes back to the hotels over here. Do you see the similar trends for your market too? Now, if we take a closer look for the demand outlook for the next 90 days, in this, we can see that Mumbai is quite busy as of now for April. The high demand over 8th of April to 22nd of April till 21st of April for the various events which are happening as of now. Are hotels optimizing the length of the stay, which we generally call as LOS, in line with the guest preference? Are we still seeing pickup for the Chem Expo event happening in April? I hope they have still not rescheduled. I saw like yesterday it was still there. So these are a few questions we need to really ask ourselves. Where are people looking? For which dates are they looking? For what LOS they are looking? These are few forward-looking solutions which will really help us to come together and work for a common goal. Now, further, if we deep dive into flight searches for Mumbai, we can basically see for a granular data, there are two different intervals where we see higher flight searches happening. The first one is between 10 to 24th of February, and the second one is between 9 to 21st of April. Now, in this, we can also see that how are we really leveraging this information with our source markets. Below the graph, you actually can see the top countries searching like UK, Australia, and then followed by India with a breakdown of the LOS also. So the question goes back to the hotel, how can the marketing team help us over here? How they can collaborate with the different commercial department like revenue and distribution and drive an ROI-driven promotion, which will give visibility to the hotels and which will also help to generate direct business for the hotels. Everybody loves direct business. And then when we look at the hotel perspective from the hotel searches, and what we see over here is closer to the dates, we see really high demand at this point of time. 75% of the searches continue to be from India, and which contributes to maximum of 61% of the searches for length of stay one night. However, if we look at the LOS 2 and 3 in the length of the stay breakdown, we can see almost 28% or roughly 27.5% searches contributes to 2 nights and 3 nights LOS. So here we can see that optimism is building between 0 to 7 days. And if you pay a close attention, it's majorly over the weekends. So customers are booking closer to the arrival dates. Are we in line with the customer preference? What are they looking for? And do we have something to offer? This is where the commercial team needs to dive further. And coming back to the second pillar over here is the price, the second essential pillar. How are the hotels using LOS discounting? Now, if we pay a close attention where we can see in the first graph for LOS 2 and the second graph is for LOS 3. And then I have given an example of Mumbai as a breakdown in terms of LOS. So if you look at the first graph, it says like 32% of hotels from Hyderabad offer a non-refundable rates as compared to 20% and 21% respectively for Bangalore and Mumbai. The other data suggests in the second graph that over 55% of the hotels at the same time have a same-day cancellation policy, and only 25% of the hotels in Mumbai offer the same-day cancellation. Now, here, are we utilizing the LOS discounting in line with the guest preference? In the Mumbai graph, if you can see the breakdown with LOS, you can see 38.8 searches are for more than LOS 2 and above. Yet 95% of the hotels in Mumbai do not offer discount on LOS 2. So here's something which needs to be brainstormed. When we talk about LOS, not necessarily it has to be for all room categories. The revenue person can decide a strategy. It can be for the next room category. It can be for a high room category. That's something which the commercial team needs to be brainstormed. And followed by how are the hotels using the rate flexibility? We basically want to really understand that hotels are offering non-refundable options, and what are the flexibility what the hotels are offering. It's really important at this point of time that the more flexibility we have, the better the guest experience is going to be reflected. Quickly to talk about the third pillar as a distribution and what we see over here, that how are hotels optimizing the channel mix. Now, there are two different sets of graph over here. The first one is the demand graph for the next 90 days, which allows us to see which are the high demand dates. The red color bars are basically the high demand dates, and the blue are the very low demand dates. And the second graph, what you see is the OTB for the hotel. And when, as a revenue person, we want to see that based on the demand which are there in the future, in the future dates, how is our mix for those specific days? Which channel we need to really perform, which channel needs to really perform and need to be paid attention. So here the commercial team needs to really come together and then drive how they want to really have a channel mix and optimize the demand which is there for the future. Well, over here the hotels commercial teams need to come together and for marketing promotions and help marketing team and to really analyze, which is the most important fourth pillar over here for this fourth pillar for forward-looking solution. At the end of the day, what commercial strategy has created an ROI-driven impact needs to be really analyzed. And final key takeaways, bring the commercial team together. Demand pattern has changed. Data is critical. COVID situation has forced to think out of the box, and what strategies have been implemented needs to be measured. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Sachin.
Yeah, I'll just stop sharing.
Sure. That was certainly very insightful.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm just wondering if anybody has any questions for Sachin, or can I just move to having Brij come on? Yes, so sure, Suresh, go ahead.
The participants can't speak because they have to send the question by the chat.
Okay, so Suresh, if you could just hold on until the end of our session. We do have some time budgeted for Q&A, so we will take that there. Right. So may I please now invite Brij, to talk to us about what he has to say regarding digital and revenue.
Right. So I hope I have kind of broken the curse in terms of the tech challenges. So you are able to see and hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you can just allow me just a second, and then we can. So again, just a quick word of confirmation from anybody in the audience or my team here. You are able to see the full screen?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Excellent. So, first of all, thank you very much to everybody around, who joined. It's quite encouraging for all of us at HSMAI to have such an audience. And thank you, Jackie and Sonia, to start on with the India chapter. Quite certain that this is going to be a very, very engaging forum as we will move forward. From an industry perspective, from a sales and marketing, from a commercial angle, and from a revenue management perspective. So what, over the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'll try and talk in terms of how digital and distribution, or distribution and digital, are kind of evolving from where we were and where we are going. And that poses not only, I won't say challenges, but a lot of opportunities for all of us around the table. Whether we are starting into the hospitality or whether we are a few years away or after, there is so much happening, there is so much to do, that this is super exciting times. Now I hope I can change my screen and the first is back. Okay, so a quick, since we have a mixed bag of audience, just to go back before we go forward, if you actually look at it, distribution has come a long, long, long way from the 1960s. Yes, I'm going, before I was also born, where digital meant neon signs across the road in terms of, that is what was happening. To the 1960s, when GDS came over, when we were talking about airlines, when we were talking about, hotel and airlines getting sold together and things like that. And that is when your, convenience of a travel agent or commissions actually started to come along. 1995 onwards was when the internet started to come in. We had the first so-called branded hotel site from Hilton, which came in, and then, but still we were using internet or the website thing as, I'll say, as more as an electronic brochure, not from an e-commerce point of view. But sooner or later, the OTAs came in the name of Expedia, and they taught us, what all can you do there. Adding to that, the economic boost and the internet, kind of reaching to the masses was when, we are all adapting to digital, mobile phone, communication becoming cheaper, multiple OTAs, and obviously the rise of the Googles and the Facebooks is something which we need to talk about. Lastly, what has affected our lives in the last 2 years has actually kicked off a revolution. Whether we call it the pandemic, COVID, whatever it is made things go much more faster than you can ever imagine. And trust me, the way I look at it, this is going to pick up more and more pace as we move forward. When it comes to a digital movement, OTA is becoming more and more tech savvy, the new distribution channels opening. So this was just a quick overview in terms from a progression of distribution point of view. Now, if you look at it from a distribution or competition, why do I write that? Gone are the days when we could call, that each channel had its own specific segment. Today, we see a mishmash happening across all distribution channels. A retail guy is booking you through your hotel team, call center, brand website, OTAs, GDS, and same is with corporates or travelers. There is increased transparency. What that means for our commercial, when we talk about sales or marketing or revenue teams is a bigger challenge than ever before. The moment you give a rate out to a wholesaler today, it is out there for everybody to book. There are guardrails. We all are struggling with the earliest of the AMUAs or some of the other, I don't know the name, but I'm sure a lot of people know what we're talking. And this word is going to get complicated, or is getting complicated, or I'll say transparent from a guest perspective. In simple words, to uncomplicate what I just said, life is not going to be simple, and it's as simple as this web is what we're looking at. I know a lot of us may not be able to make head or tail of the chart on the right hand side, but that's the way things are moving, and it will further more and more get more entangled and engaged. So what is digital doing in distribution, if I have to say? Now, both of these two aspects go hand in hand. And I think distribution is a lot to do with marketing in today's state. We all, if you look at it, when whatever we are distributing across various channels, a key, when it comes to communication, customization and conversions are the three pillars what we are driving towards. Digital marketing has become the pillar of driving business. Content is king. We all know that, and more rich content, and it started to influence what we are trying to do. Communication through email and notification or web and app, I think is very common and what we understand even from a hotel and our business point of view. Offers and promotions contribute. What is it doing? It's building community, loyalty, and the fine balance of a brand image as such. From a customization point of view, digital is driving to micro markets, personalized engines, cookies, cache, a lot when it comes to CRM and stickiness and making more cost effective. Lastly is in terms of conversion, because at the end of the day, we all are money managers, we all are revenue managers, and that's what we are looking at when it comes to enhanced conversions, micro-targeting. And so that's what is driving our distribution and digital strategy. All this does not come without challenges. Exponential growth, if I have to say, is actually putting a lot of stress on all of us. The growth, while is great, is leading to a lot of challenges. You can see that loyalty is dropping. Prices become the basic driver. It is leading to price wars. Unorganized structure of or usage of data. A lot of there's enough and more data. I mean, keep on talking about data is the fuel and things like that. But how do we go about using that? And that is leading to rising costs when it comes to as we move forward. Aggressive campaigns, what we all are running, just to acquire that customer is basically also what that means is higher cost of conversion. And lastly, in terms of channels which are higher risk and higher volatility is what we are seeing. What are the trends from a distribution and digital point of view? Social media, we all are on it and we all are engaged. And I think HSMAI itself is using social media quite a lot and each other. And this continues and it will continue to, earlier we had Facebook, LinkedIn and things like that. Today we have blogs, posts, podcasts, bloggers, multiple other things. Content is at a new, different level. VR, AR is what we're talking here. Personalization will become the key as we move forward. Gadgets keep on evolving. Earlier so far we were talking about iPads and wearables. Now we're talking about IoT, Alexa, Google Home, everything possible. Compare Meta, we all are aware of. Not everything is getting transparent, and rate parity is more important than ever before. Alliances, whether we're talking about credit cards, all our partners as such. And lastly, nuggets of book direct exclusive loyalty, which continue and that will be a key driver for any brand as we move forward. What is the future like? Data is the new oil. So definitely, is what we see in the next 5-7 years. Data supported by a lot of the strictest privacy laws. So each and every one of us will need to kind of look at how we are using data as we move forward. Expansion of business diversification, and today the way I say it, so far when we looked at distribution, we were only talking about rooms as such. No longer that is the truth now. You have already seen a Zomato and Swiggy's of the world coming into that ancillary, and this is going to further bigger. So for a challenge or an opportunity for all the distribution teams is this business diversification as such. Resource management, again, what this also means that there is a new kind of a manager or training what is required amongst all of us. And I think that is where we all will need to invest a lot of stuff. Digital first branding, rise of digital brands is a given. And I already spoke about IoT and AI as we move forward. So what will you do? This is a question I think everybody has to ask themselves. There are some we traditionally think that we are the hoteliers, we are the But do we outsource, or do we build a, depends from organization to organization. But what does this mind space is, we'll have to ask each and every of us the question in terms of skills, tech stack, USPs, brand, guest, cost, vision, resource management, and what is company profits. So in a nutshell, if I have to say, all distribution channels need to prepare for the next generation of distribution. It is evolving faster than we ever can imagine. Consumer will have more options to make the most basic decisions to related travel. What we will need in the future is an approach that simplifies, this entire landscape. So that's all what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brij. That was very, very insightful and very nice to have you share your thoughts here. I would now like to invite Amy Clarke, just for a discussion on, what's happening in the marketing space. How do you see digital driving marketing for hotels and resorts? If you could share, from your experience and from what you are doing, that would be really insightful for the audience as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Sonnia. And hi, everyone. Really good to be here. I look after marketing for Wyndham Hotels and Resorts. We're the largest hotel franchising company globally. We've got 20 brands now. And in India, I know that Ramada is the most prevalent. So you might be more familiar with Ramada as one of our strongest brands in EMEA. And yeah, I mean, digital is really important for us. I came from a digital background. I worked in e-commerce for my whole career, and more recently have been looking more broadly at marketing, kind of brand and loyalty. But digital really takes the lion's share of my budget, as I'm sure it does for many. And I'd say after a turbulent couple of years, ROI is really important now more than ever. That's where I'm getting a lot of pressure from stakeholders to show them kind of the ROI of every dollar that we invest, because it's so precious now after what we've been through. But having said that, growth is still really important. So we're feeling like growth is our only way out. And certainly what we've noticed over the past year is the number of kind of different companies coming up with new digital innovation, approaching us, because, we're hoteliers, we're not a tech company. We rely on the expertise in the market and making good choices about who to work with to drive digital and drive direct bookings for our brand. So we're exploring a lot of new opportunities and really taking a test and trial approach, because, budgets are also under pressure, having been through some challenging times. So we need to choose carefully. So we are trying to kind of start small, invest, test something. If it proves that it works, then take it further. And there's a lot more digital innovation and kind of opportunity coming our way, and that we're looking for. Some of the things I think we've seen a lot more growth in recently is like in the search arena, we're seeing a lot more traffic coming through local search. That was already increasing, and it's increasing more and more. And so we're working on new opportunities within that segment. And for example, with Google Local, which I know we all rely on a lot, there are new opportunities around health and hygiene and eco and sustainability. And these are all things that not all hotels are taking advantage of to their fullest. So we're helping hotels to make sure that all of those opportunities are tapped. And in some ways they're basics, but they're also kind of really easy opportunities to grow your visibility for your direct channels. I know we've heard meta search mentioned already, and it's a difficult channel to play in because it's so heavily dominated by OTAs. But again, it's something that we're trying to focus on more and find those nuggets that where it's the right market or the right time, and it does provide extra direct bookings. So that's something we're doing more of again, looking for new partners to help innovate in that area. And then I think one of the biggest areas of innovation in digital at the moment is all around kind of the targeting and customer data. So this is something that we're doing more of, and layering in some of our own customer data into how we target our digital advertising. And there's so much scope here, even with kind of changes in legislation around data privacy. We're very conscious of that, but there's still a lot of opportunity to bring in your own customer data and really target your investment to the right audience is more important than ever with this pressure on ROI. So there's some of the kind of priorities at the moment. I was thinking about what are the challenges at this point, and I think, you know, for most hotels, the main challenge at the moment is budget, and you know, we're managing various stakeholders who are kind of questioning everything that we spend in marketing. So the way that we're getting through it is by leaning on our data sources more than ever. And again, echoing what some of our previous panelists have already said, I know for us, we're working a lot more with OTA Insight actually to help with that forward planning. And we are working more closely than ever with our revenue management team to echo exactly what Brij was saying. They need, I don't think I've ever worked as closely with revenue management as I do at the moment, and they have access to a lot more data, and they're kind of helping bridge that with marketing so that we can understand some of that and use it to prioritize. So yeah, I think kind of tackling that challenge of ROI in digital is really using data as our crutch and working with revenue management. And also one of the things that I'm learning a lot about with revenue management is the rate integrity side of things, because I don't want to invest in digital marketing if a customer's not going to get a great experience when they're shopping around for rates. It's kind of wasted investment if there's inconsistent pricing out there, which is confusing for the customer and doesn't drive our direct bookings. And then another challenge that I was thinking about is tracking. And it's been a challenge for many years, and it's still a challenge, but with more recent kind of innovation in digital and tracking, there's even more opportunity and more options out there. And I think with digital comes an expectation of proven ROI, and with digital you can track it, with offline you can't. So let's see it, but it still requires very sophisticated tracking to be able to say this marketing investment in digital resulted in exactly these bookings, because sometimes digital is still about brand awareness, and we need to work harder to tally that up with the resulting bookings.
So Amy, how can we use digital marketing to make our customers more loyal?
So yeah, good question. And I think there are a couple of things here. One is coming back to the targeting. So bringing in some of your loyalty data, if you have it, or even if you don't have a loyalty scheme, your customer data can help you give the right message to the right people. So we'll have you know, messages that we put out there to our loyalty audience. Say we've got a highly engaged loyal audience, we want to give them a message that reminds them of the benefits of being loyal, and we can do that through our digital advertising rather than a generic message. And at the same time, we can have a different message for those customers that aren't yet loyal. So really using customer data to target more effectively. And also, for those of you that have an app, that's another kind of excellent digital tool to grow loyalty. And we find that kind of promoting that status through the app is a really good way of encouraging somebody to stick with your app, keep it on their phone, use it as their sign of I've got this status with this company, and use it as a new membership card. So there are a lot of digital opportunities for loyalty. Yeah. And
thank you so much.
Yeah. No, that's great. Thank you.
Right. So great, Amy. It was very good to know about all these things. And certainly, I think digital and marketing have taken off very well after post-COVID, I would say. It sort of accelerated the whole proposition. So thank you, and do stay on because there are a couple of questions that people have, and we'll take them at the end of the presentation.
Sure. Yeah.
And may I please now invite Seema to share with us some insights on how digital is impacting sales for hotels.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you,
Seema, have to
Jackie.
unmute. Yeah.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you for having me over. It's great to be part of such a wonderful panel. I think, just first of sorts, I'd say, and I'm wishing all the very best to HSMAI India chapter. Looking forward to contributing as much as I can and, being a part of this and learning from everybody as we go along. Like Sonia mentioned in the beginning, I'm with Preferred Hotel Group. One of our brands, which is Preferred Hotels and Resorts, represents 700 of best-in-class independent properties across 80 countries. Thank you, everyone, for joining and listening in today. Sonia, going back to your question, I'd start with a little bit of insight into trends. What we are seeing, what we are witnessing. I think it's a lot in line with what everyone said before me. We all know corporate or business travel as a segment has been slow. Leisure, and that too largely domestic, has remained the key focus. MICE is looking to slowly come back, even though smaller and in most cases hybrid. We know weddings and wedding-related events and in general banquet business has been an important segment, that brought respite to hotels and properties around the country. It was great to see in Sachin's presentation, shorter lead times has been one of the trends we're witnessing, but it's good to see it's changing, and a longer length of stay. As frequency of trips have dropped, we can see people are trying to do longer trips because it's lesser numbers, that they're doing through the year. I think from a booking pattern point of view, people are more amenable to digital purchases than ever before. COVID's taught us that over the last 2 years. At Preferred, like I said, we stand for authentic, independent experiences around the world. And I can tell you, I think the kind of growth we are witnessing on brand.com, on hotels' own websites, followed by OTAs as an extension of hotels' own digital universe, has been phenomenal. It would be safe to say, I think, that digital channels, the growth or the numbers via digital channels are recovering way faster than any other segment. I think one of the other things we are witnessing is the high growth on mobile channels. And I think that goes back to what Brij presented, what Sachin mentioned. It is definitely the primary device. It is taking over as the primary device. And probably we're already in the era of mobile first. So it is definitely the need of the hour for sales and commercial teams to focus more on digital as a segment, realign strategy to convert more business, while offline will still gradually make its way back. I think in terms of trends, what we are witnessing in terms of some of the changes or evolution that's happened over a period of time, that's what we're looking at. And I think this is probably going to stay, at least in short to medium term.
Okay, great. So what is the gap in the sales efforts that you feel digital can fill?
Great question, Sonia. I think from a sales perspective, as sales, as sellers for our hotels, we need to look at digitalization as an enabler for sales for both our touch points, which is B2B as well as B2C. Key objective being ease of doing business by going digital. One part of it is what everyone's presented so far from Brij and OTA Insights, Sachin's presentation. Data and MIS that we have available now is at another level, that can help us be a lot more focused and targeted in our selling approach. It helps us take personalization to another level. I think we spoke about how personalization is becoming so important, and data and MIS that we have available and access to helps us with that. The other part, I think, from a digitalization perspective is that it allows us to capture the experiential aspect of travel and hospitality. It can help us inspire people to travel not just to our properties, but to our destinations. It's how do we use technology to deliver that message, that experience. Some of the things as an industry, we've been known to be laggards in embracing technology. We've had some progress over the last couple of years, but there's still a long way to go. We do need to continue to push the envelope continuously. Our efforts that, the sales, distribution, marketing efforts that used to be in isolation in silos in yesteryears may not be good enough anymore. Of course, digitalization can take it to that another level. How can we use the digital world to capture the full bandwidth of how we can sell the entire experience? Going hyper digital is probably the way forward. We've been hearing this term a lot. Basically making the entire selling experience a lot more engaged. To give you an example, let's say from a B2B perspective, we work with agencies, we work with corporate clients. How can we make change? How can we enhance the selling process, from sending static PDF files and emails to actually using some sort of dynamic web-based communication, usage of videos, virtual tours, photography, guided experiences in the entire selling process? How do we utilize all of that to our benefit as a part, make it a part of the selling process and not look at it in isolation? The fact is digitalization does allow us to be a lot more nimble and faster. There is no waiting period. Trial and error is quicker. We can experiment and quickly learn and move on from there. I think Amy mentioned in recent times, most of us had to pivot our selling strategy to target local and regional travel. Digital has played an important role in that. We know today's traveler is perhaps not looking at the cheapest option, but probably safer alternatives, more flexibility. How can we communicate this message using the power of digital? We've partnered at Preferred, we partnered with Bureau Veritas. Our partners like Leela, come up with programs like Suraksha by Leela. I think digital perhaps was the fastest and most cost-effective way as a go-to-market strategy, for communicating all of such enhancements to our end consumer and to our B2B partners. Just addressing the elaborate act of selling and distributing the experience, I think is where digitalization can play such an important part. We can, like I was saying, perhaps we can look at not selling accommodation, F&B, wellness, culture of the destination in isolation, but as a comprehensive experience. How do we make that a more consultative and engaged using tech and AI perhaps for a wider reach?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Seema. That was certainly very insightful. And I will take the opportunity to thank all our speakers. I think what all you shared is very valuable, great takeaways for everyone. And yes, it is time that the commercial disciplines did integrate together to make it work as a business stream. We have, Jackie, do we have time? Can we take a few questions?
I think there's one probably for Amy from Suresh. Most tech specialists prefer to work in tech organizations where they have more opportunities for growth. So it is very hard for hotels to hire the best digital workforce. So should hotels build their own digital teams or outsource their work?
Really good question. Very much a challenge for hotels. And, obviously it depends quite a lot on the size of the hotel, the revenue that you're working with in terms of going in-house versus agency. There are definitely some things where you'll need to work with an agency, especially when, connectivity is involved, like meta search, for example. But one thing I've done previously in hotels is I actually hired a maths graduate as an intern to come in and look after digital for me, which was a really exciting opportunity for that person, and they ended up really prospering and now runs digital marketing for a large hotel group. So I think also in recruitment it's about thinking outside the box and finding new ways to challenge different types of people and use their skills in the best way that you can.
Okay, great. And then this one mightn't be a fast one to answer. Maybe it's one for Brij. Just trying to scroll down. Basically asking about in the new, okay. Really That's a fairly long question, but why do hotel brands continue to struggle with direct bookings?
Sure. Yes, so that has always been, I think, every hotelier's struggle or dream to have maximum business coming out of direct channels. The important, I think digital today has made that much more efficient when it comes to, things, small things like what we talk about, best rate guarantees and things like that are initiatives what you need to take. Parity is another one which comes into play. If you will not have the discipline of doing some basics, then obviously we can't expect a lot of direct business to come, and your reliance on the third parties will always be there. However, at the same time, it's an ecosystem. The way I look at it, that every partner is important, and we need to kind of play ball in that aspect. So. In submission, there is a lot of changes, a lot of stuff which is coming or which is happening in today's environment, where you can get into these from a direct business point of view, how well you will use your content, how well you will price your products, how experiential you can, and how easy you can make. I think these are the things, simple things what we can do in terms of driving the direct business. I hope I've kind of summed it up. If there's anything specific somebody wants to ask, then happy to take that on.
Thanks, Brij. And there's one for Seema. Seema, do you see new customer segments emerging in the digital era?
Well, thank you for the question. I think there are many social and sub-segments that we've seen emerging over the last couple of months or 2 years, if I can say, that might continue to remain, or become a part of our overall segmentation strategy. I think some of the concepts like leisure, with limited business travel, people are looking to combine their trips with some personal time off. Workations, which is working from anywhere concept. You're taking a vacation while working remotely from the hills or near a beach. Staycations or drivecation, taking a holiday within your own city. Also in other segments like our meetings going hybrid or phygital, a new term that I recently learned, where it's a physical and digital combined meeting. Yes, these are new segments, and I think as commercial teams, sales, marketing, revenue, we all need to work a lot more closely together to remain agile, to adapt and align, and perhaps keep realigning our strategies as we go along. One of the things is how are we using or harnessing the power of user-generated content, to build trust and credibility for our brand, and again, just to be able to target these newer segments, because these have not been traditional segments that we've catered to in the past. So how are we creating or sending that message out, which is creating that credibility for our brand using the good old word of mouth, using the power of digital, which is social media in this case. I hope that helps answer.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. That's great. I think Bonish had a question, but I'm just waiting for that to come through on the chat. It doesn't look like it's coming through. So I think that's it. We're 5 past the hour, so that might be it. Sonnia, did you want to wrap up?
Yes, I was just thinking if there is, somebody has had a question. Okay, so it seems like there are no more questions. I would like to thank everyone for joining us today. Thank you for your time. Stay tuned. We are going to be coming up with a couple of events throughout the year, and I look forward to some of you joining us as members if you haven't done that already. Please feel free to reach me or Jackie or any of the advisory board members here. We look forward to interacting with you all. Thank you so much.
And thanks to all the panelists again. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Everyone.
Great day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for getting
Stay
up
safe.
early, Amy.
No problem.
Yeah, you can grab some sleep
Really
now.
early.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.